Concepts today are not new, just that we are going to summarize what we have learned and also look at certain geometrical interpretation. So with respect to certain formula, how do we describe them when they ask us to do so? That will be the first segment before we look at the applications questions. Can we recall this particular diagram first, where there are these two lengths which we are interested in? Okay, this is your length of projection, and this is your vertical length. Can I recall together with you how we arrive at the dot and the cross first? You help me also label in, I would like this top point to be called point A, with this as vector A. So let's say the two vectors that we are applying is called vector A and vector B. This is the angle between vector A and vector B. What will be the length of the vertical distance? This vertical distance is actually mod A sine theta. The one that is opposite the angle will be sine, and sine can be related to cross product, because the formula for cross product is mod A mod B sine theta. So to recall the formula, it will then be A cross B cap. Similar for this lower region, because this is the adjacent side compared to the theta with respect to theta. So this is mod A cosine theta. And because it is cosine, we will go for dot product in terms of the equation. So top or vertical one is cross, horizontal one is dot, as per what you have seen before. But today what we want to learn is how do you describe them, because there will be this phrase in the exam that says, can we talk about the geometrical interpretation? The same phrase will appear. For the very first one, if it's A dot B cap, this is the length of the yellow region. This yellow region is always read as the length of projection. But when we describe length of projection, you must tell them which vector onto which vector. This length of projection will be of A onto vector B. We need to note that when you describe, it must always be onto the unit vector. If your unit vector given in the problem is with B, it will be A onto B. If the unit vector is A, will be the vice versa, will be B onto A. Okay, so check the unit vector position. Second one, which is that vertical distance on that diagram, this will be thought of as, again, length, but you can either say it's the perpendicular distance or the shortest distance. From point A to line B. If they give you the name of the line, you can describe as much as you can. But the crucial phrases are, you want to look at it's the shortest or the perpendicular distance. Now, visually on the diagram, where is this C? What is A dot B cap times B cap? So it's almost similar as the first one, just that the first one came with a modulus. The last one is multiplication to B cap. You want to know that that vector is actually this vector that I'm drawing out in red here. This vector is your A dot B cap multiplied to B cap. So it is the same length as the yellow length, but it's now a vector that points parallel to B. This is called the projection vector. If they ask us to describe this, it's projection vector, and give the details also. This is projection vector of A onto B. Always onto the unit vector as per what you have in the first one as well. So there are more descriptions that we can give. What we need to know here is, at the moment, these three that I have described for you, they all involve a unit vector. One of the vector that I have written out is a unit vector. There's a B cap throughout. So this next one is trying to let you see that they mention up front that C is your unit vector. What is this interpretation of mod C dot P? If C is a unit vector, it will also mean that C is C cap. It is its own unit vector. C is a unit vector. So length of C is 1. And we also know length of C cap is also 1. So C is C cap. Which will mean that in this equation that they want you to describe, this is actually C cap dot P. C is a unit vector. If it's better for you to visualize or write the answer, I'm going to switch the C cap to the right, and it doesn't matter. The order is not important for dot product. But writing out this way allows you to phrase better. It's back to number 1. You have a cap at one vector. So you may describe this as length of projection. Must always be clear who onto who. That's the important thing that you want to write in exam, worth 1 mark. So this is length of projection of B onto C. Always onto your unit vector. Now, what about cross product, where for this cross product, there isn't any unit vectors? The previous cross product, there's 1 unit vector. So if there isn't any unit vectors, no unit vector, you should think of area. For cross product, you don't see unit vector, but they want you to describe, think of areas. What I mean by thinking about area is there are 2 possible solutions. What are the area formula? Without a half in front, this could represent area of a parallelogram. Area of parallelogram is given by you take mod and you cross 2 adjacent sides. But when you describe, you must describe the A and D also. So you can say with adjacent vectors A, D. Or if in the context of the question, they were describing a triangle, because it's without half here, you could mention that this value will be twice area of triangle. Because naturally, area of triangle, by right, there should be a half in front. Without the half, you describe as it's twice. But the A and D part on the right is the same, where you describe as they are adjacent vectors. E will be a recap of what happens with dot being 0 and cross being 0. Dot being 0, we will describe as the 2 vectors are perpendicular. And to re-emphasize one more time, any cross product expression, if there's a 0, this is written as bold. In written form, you write 0 tilde, is 0, 0, 0 vector. And cross product 0 means the 2 vectors are parallel. You may need to further use this later on. A parallel to D means you can write it as A is lambda D. For some lambda, there is a real number.